Hi, my name is Dan Corbett, and I'm the managing partner of BlackIron Group. BlackIron is a Salesforce certified partner, and today I'm here to talk to you about project tracking and time entry in Salesforce. Most clients, after a deal is won, have a component that involves some sort of project, whether it's onboarding, installation, implementation or deployment, or any other kind of function where a separate team is expected to fulfill the terms of that deal. Today, I'm going to show you how that can work inside of Salesforce, from automatically creating a project from a closed won opportunity to tracking time against that project, and ultimately integrating those time cards into QuickBooks for invoice management and invoice entry. Let's get started. A quick shameless plug. We are proud that we took our 1,800th Salesforce client live this year. To date, over 15 years, we've done over 2,200 Salesforce projects. There are 19 of us up and down the East Coast, and our offices are in Norwalk, just outside of New York City. We're dedicated to customer success, including a dedicated resource to follow up on implementation. And for our clients, we often communicate with them about things that are happening inside of Salesforce that maybe are more urgent than the sort of marketing emails you get from Salesforce. It's all part of becoming a Salesforce and a BlackIron customer. We think there's got to be a better way to do project tracking. We think a lot of the tools out there are super complicated, super expensive, and really hard to set up and maintain. And over the years, we've kind of experimented with a bunch of different tools, from Microsoft to Quick Arrow to some of the App Exchange stuff that's out there. And we kind of landed on an easy to use, quick to set up, and easy to understand project tracking tool that we built inside of Salesforce. We approached the professional services tracking problem with a new version of what needs to be there. What has to be into the project versus what you want, and how quickly can we get there in terms of using Salesforce. The beauty of tracking projects inside of Salesforce is that it's easy to set up and included inside of your subscription costs in Salesforce. Building projects can be an extension of the existing opportunity, and using a tool called Process Builder that's available, we can automatically create projects from the opportunities that are already there. If you're using products as part of your opportunities, or even if you're not, we can help you set that up. Those products that can then be turned into milestones that relate to those projects. And essentially, the project structure is built from your sales team and put together. We've also built a Visualforce component that allows users to directly enter time into Salesforce on those projects quickly and easily. And like everything else in Salesforce, all of that data is reportable and dashboardable so that we can get to it. So let's take a look. This chart details out the 5 steps that I'm going to be demoing today. And in most Salesforce instances, opportunities are being used. Well, in this example, the first step that's going to happen is an opportunity is won. And when that opportunity is won, a project is going to be created automatically from that opportunity. Milestones are going to be created from those products, and the user is going to have those records in the system. So let's take a look. So here you see a Salesforce opportunity in our system. Like with anything else in Salesforce, there are many custom fields that you can add if the data doesn't already exist. Things like statement of work name and an auto number system that kind of captures and builds that number for you in sequential repeating. I've added an engagement manager, me in this example, and a project manager, Ken, associated with these records. And then over here on the right, you see the services that I talked about briefly in that slide. Essentially, I've taken products in Salesforce and renamed them as services. If I look at all of them, they'll be familiar, right? It's the things that you do on a Salesforce project, from business process review to lead management build out, opportunities, workflows, reports, data migration, and project management work. These then become our services, and I estimate between a low and a high hour, and that information in turn gives me low and high dollars and calculates out the amount for the opportunity. As a user, I'm going to work through this opportunity as a sales rep, and I'm going to follow this deal along the road. And when this deal is closed, I'm going to do that now, I've got a process builder built in the back of Salesforce that's automatically going to create and build out a project record for me. And you see right now that there are no projects on this project, but as this kind of work happens, and I reload and refresh this, you'll see that a project is automatically created for me. And that project record inherited the properties that came from this opportunity. Basically, the data associated with this opportunity, from the dates that I expect the project to run to the total hours and the total amounts, all were brought over for me into this project record. So let's take a look at it. Inside of the project record itself, I've still got a path across the top. I've got some reports that tell my consultants and my project managers information about the project. And I've got basically the data that I brought over from the opportunity directly built into here. I have my start and my end date kind of built into the system. And over here, I've got the milestones that came directly from those services that I associated with that opportunity. In other words, I, as a sales rep, and my partners built out opportunities as part of the sales cycle. We carefully figured out the hours that are going to be involved in each of the milestones. And then by closing the opportunity as a closed won opportunity and nothing else, I built that project for my consultants. I assigned it to my project manager, right, to Ken, and I workflowed out enough information to those guys that they know that there's a project out there that they're expected to work on. Let's take a look at kind of the milestone piece. In each milestone, I capture the information from the service, right? The low and the high hours that came from that record, and then the number of hours that are available. As I start to use this, and I'll show you this next, that information gets calculated here, and I start to tell you how many hours I have available for this particular record. At this point, we've taken an opportunity and won it. A project was automatically created, and the milestones were created as well. At this point, I want to show you how our consultants or our installers or our implementers or our onboarders can enter time into that project against those milestones and capture that information inside of Salesforce. Back on our project record, I'm showing our Visualforce component, our Lightning component that we built to capture time against this project. And if I click this Add Row button, our tool is going to add a record for me and allow me to capture my time for this project. Now, looking at this list of milestones, it's only going to show you the milestones that are available or part of this project, and it's going to show me the information about those in the system. So let's say I've spent 6 hours on BPR and I did business design on this session. I'm going to save this row. And maybe I did a little bit of lead management as well. So I'll grab that. And I'm going to grab the lead management, and maybe I only did 2 hours worth of work here. And, you know, I'm going to type lead management. Now, of course, my guys are going to type more than just lead management, but they're going to get the information and kind of put those records together. And this way, I've got that information kind of available here. If I refresh this report now, you'll see that my project manager starts to see not only the amount of time that we've got available on the project, in this example, 70 hours, but the amount of time I've spent so far, these 8 hours. And so as a project manager, as a consultant, you can quickly see where you stack up against a project. You can tell based on the highlight whether you're kind of in range in terms of the hours. And if you need to see the actual hours, those exist on the page as well. At some point, and it's typically at the end of the month, my users will come in, or my consultants will come in, and they'll mark the records off, and they'll simply submit for an approval. A really easy job for them to kind of say to me, in this case, as the engagement manager, I'm ready for the next step. I'm ready to invoice this customer for this time. When they click on this, that takes us to the next step in the process. As you can see, at this point, we've started to walk around this circle, and we're pretty much to the point where we're going to send this data to QuickBooks. But I've built in, optionally, an approval process for the engagement manager on the project to make sure that the time that's going to be invoiced to the customer, in this case, is accurate, is solid, and is within the boundaries of the statement of work that we built. Let me show you what that looks like. On my home page, I've added a component that allows me to approve time cards that are sent to me. Now, this looks a little odd because these are cards sent by me to me, but you can see that Vandana and Jackie have sent me cards this month already as well, and I need to get those approved. I click here and I approve this record, and it asks me why I'm approving it, and I say, job well done. And then that information will find its way into QuickBooks. Let's show what that looks like next. QuickBooks integration is available for an added fee as a licensed App Exchange module from a company called Avankia. BlackIron is also a QuickBooks customer, and we use the tool DB Sync from Avankia for a price of $2,400 a year that sends data automatically from Salesforce to QuickBooks and vice versa. The base application out of the box moves accounts as customers, opportunities as invoices or or sales orders and invoice line items to QuickBooks, and it'll also synchronize invoices and products back from QuickBooks. We've also developed a custom mapping that moves time cards from Salesforce to QuickBooks as time entries. Now, this job runs for us once a day. I'm going to, since I've approved those time cards, I'm going to jumpstart that and make that job run, and then we're going to go look at it in the... Okay, so behind the scenes, I ran the job that moves data from Salesforce to QuickBooks, and as you see here, it built my test company record, and it added the 2 time cards that I put together and approved over in Salesforce, the one for 4 hours, I guess, and the one for 2 hours. That data comes to QuickBooks for me. I can then invoice the client from these time card entries, or if I have the job set and the properties right, it will automatically invoice the customer. We don't do that, but the customers do all the time, and that information basically gets out to the customer from QuickBooks. So let's do a quick recap. Back on the opportunity record where all this started, we took this information, we won the opportunity, which created the project record. My consultants then entered time against that project record. I approved and integrated that to QuickBooks, and the final result is that data comes right back to Salesforce in the form of a receivable, a custom object, so that you can manage and analyze and track and report on that data. And like everything else in Salesforce, it's all reportable and dashboardable. I can see my project status. I can see my projects by resource. I can see the activities that I've spent on those projects over the last couple of weeks. I can see information about the time cards and when they were entered and how they've come through. Basically, any data that I've got in Salesforce, I can capture that information, put it in a report, and then ultimately dashboard that. So let's do a quick recap. Okay, so we did a lot in a really short amount of time. We won an opportunity that automatically created a project of milestones for us. Our consultants or installers entered time against that. We approved that time, and it made its way into QuickBooks and then found its way back into Salesforce. And all that automation was done pretty quickly, pretty easily, pretty inexpensively in a tool you already own. Salesforce is a great way to kind of put this together. What's next? Well, we'd love to hear from you. You can reach out to us by emailing us at info@blackirongroup.com, or you can call me, Dan Corbett, at 203-604-6765. I'm sure your sales rep would love to hear from you as well. And we appreciate the time. Thanks for listening.